Hello everyone, welcome to the Urban Design Toolkit. In this video we're going to learn about Photoshop and the difference between Photoshop and Illustrator. Now I don't want you to consider Photoshop as a software. I want you to consider it as an artistic tool. For example, when you're standing on your table and you want to draw with your toolkit, what you're going to have is on the right you're going to have your swatches and whatever you want to paint with and the ink and stuff like that. On the left you're gonna have the brushes and the pens and stuff like that, and then you have the canvas in the middle where you're gonna draw. This is exactly the same as what you have in Photoshop. You're gonna have, as you notice here on the left, you're gonna have here this bar which is called the toolbar. Here you're gonna have your pens, your brushes, and your movement tools, smudging tools, a sponge. Consider it exactly as your toolkit in real life. Same thing on the right, you're gonna have your color swatches, you're gonna have your papers, documents, which is, let's say, call it layers. You're gonna have here your papers, layers, transparency papers. And then you're gonna have the only thing that is added to your real life interface is this. This is basically whatever you find in most softwares. Even in Microsoft Office, you're gonna have a place where you can have a file, a new stuff like that. You know, you're gonna create a new file, new folder, whatever you want. This is what we are gonna have here. Now let's start with the general interface. I'm gonna try to open a document, which is gonna be very simple. You can either go to File and New, or you can see on the right here, you're gonna see Control N, Control O, and these stuff. This is a shortcut, so we can say Control N. Control N will create a new document. You're gonna name it here, for example, let's say, I don't know, test. You're gonna have the preset, where you're gonna have US papers, international papers, stuff like that, which means here, for example, I'll come back to this part. Here you're gonna have width, which we can say by pixel 500, then 500. What would that mean? You see here it changes the size for me, but what does this mean? It means that we have 500 pixels, 500 squares right beside each other, and then horizontally and vertically. So let's say, for example, 10 by 10, and say OK. You're gonna see that we have a very small square here, but where are the 10? The 10 are actually right here. If you create a circle here, you see right now I just dropped a black dot, but to make it smooth, when you look at it from afar, you see it divides it, it makes it a bit smoother. But this is the 10. You have 1 2 3 4 10, then 1 2 3 4 10. That's the basic idea behind this. So now if I'm gonna create, let's close this, there's no need for it. Let's create now, again, Control N. Let's create a new page or a new paper, just like what we usually do, and say it's international. And we're gonna pick, instead of A4, we're gonna say it's A3. It will give you automatically what are the specs that you're gonna have. This is the size. Keep an eye for the size. Sometimes these folders, these files become really big, and if you don't have a proper machine, it might crash, and you don't want that. Keep this on a big file, on a big hard disk, and make sure that you have enough space for saving, for copies and datas. So let's go ahead and click OK. Now you can see this is our A3 page. It gives you exactly the dimensions. If you want to see the general dimensions of an A3, you can go here and say image size. In image size, you're gonna have 3508 pixels. So basically you don't need to go and create file, new document, you know, and then give it all of these pixels. Remember these names. You just go and select international, then pick A3. That's it. You have it here. Now what if I want the image to be rotated? That's easily done. You can just go to image rotation, 90 degrees, either clockwise or counterclockwise. It's the same. So let's say it like this. Now there you go. You have a paper, you have your tools, you have your swatches. Now, what is the first thing we're going to do? we're gonna hold our tool and go for it on the brush, on the canvas. So let's go ahead and pick our tool. On the left side, you're gonna see that we have all kinds of tools. We have, for example, a move tool. That's very simple. So if I'm gonna go here first, I'm gonna create something, and I'm gonna show you how to use some of these tools. You're not gonna use all of them. I mean, you're gonna have just like everything else, you're gonna have 1,000 things on your table, but you're not gonna use all of them. You're gonna use just major stuff, and we're gonna teach you about the major stuff and how to integrate them into your workflow. So here you're gonna go, this is basically the interface where you're gonna add more transparency paper, if we will, on top of each other, which is called the layers. In the layers, you can see that right now we have a white layer. This says background, and you can see that it's locked. There is no way to unlock this and work on it, except for one thing. You can actually, it's two things. You can either duplicate it, go there and create a new layer, and then go there and delete this layer, or you can double click on it, rename it. Let's say this is white canvas, and say all right, there you go, the lock is gone. You have here this eye thing. It means I don't want to see it. See or not see. So you can go ahead and create a new layer by clicking on this icon right here. Keep in mind that this area will become very messy. The more layers that you're gonna have, the more messier it's gonna get, and you're gonna get lost if you don't really organize it well. So it's highly suggested that you keep an eye on it and keep it fairly tidy. For example, there are some stuff that we can do to make it tidier. First things first, naming the layer. So for example, we can call this red layer. Second one is blue layer, and third one is yellow layer. There you go. Now we're gonna have another one. Let's create another one and call this building edges. Another one, we call this roof tops, and another one we call it streets. Now we have a lot of layers already. We didn't really do much, and we already have a lot of layers, and you can't just keep them there, because sometimes you have to scroll even between them, and that's really frustrating when it gets really big, you know. So what do? You can actually select all of these layers from here. If you want to select, for example, this layer and this layer, you just simply click Control and select it. If you want to select this and everything between this layer and this layer, you can click Shift and here, and there you go, you've selected all of them. You can simply drag them into this icon right here. Creates a group and drops it in that group. Same thing here, select those and drop it here. Now you have it very organized. How do you organize it even more? Name the groups. You don't have to go which group was it. No, you just can simply go here and rename this. Double click, but very slowly on it, and you're gonna get this bar. And here we go, we're gonna name this colors, and this one architectural, or whatever you want to call them. So if you want to scroll between the layers that are inside this, you can just simply click on this arrow right here. You're going to drop them down, then open this folder again. There you go, you have them all in one layer, in one group. Now for our toolkit, this is our white canvas. I don't usually like to draw on the canvas directly, because this thing is it's really hard to organize, you know. For example, I'm gonna go ahead and click brush. The shortcut is B. We're gonna come back to explain all of these toolkits, but for now let's just focus on the brush tool. You have a couple of things. First of all, the size of the brush, you see it's very small, and we don't want that. Or maybe we do, it's up to you, but for now we don't want this, we want it to be bigger. So you're gonna go back to the white canvas, right click on it. When you right click wherever you are, and you have the tool there, you can actually have options. For example, we can choose, let's make this larger and have a look at all of the options that we have. Now you might not have all of these things, you might have much more or much less, depends on the version of software that you have and on the brushes that you already installed on your Photoshop. For example, some of these stuff are actually presets. They are there within Photoshop directly, and some of them I added myself because I actually wanted to do a specific effect, such as this. See, that's different. You're not gonna find it in the basic Photoshop, but for the basic stuff, let's just go ahead and pick the first option that we have right there. It's a circle with a soft edge. There you go. It's very smooth, but when you go really deep and look at it, you will notice it's pixels. All of it is pixels. So this is a raster image. Now, the main thing I don't like I don't like drawing on the white canvas for one big reason. I can't really modify it now. What if they tell me, okay, move this black thing to the right? It's possible, but it's really dirty. It's not gonna be clean. If you just go ahead and click here, for example, with the one tool is actually a selection tool. We're gonna come back to it. You're gonna see that it's very dirty. For example, if I move this, you see the selection is actually to this edge, but we can see that there is still a gradient outside. It's not that clean. But if we go for this layer and we draw it here, go back again to the brush tool, same thing, and they tell me, okay, move this. I want it to be on the right. Well, it's easy. It's on its own layer. You just take it and drag it. Go up, go down, whatever you want to do. Now, this is the use of layers.